my channel. Welcome back to another video. So this is going to be another episode of the work and travel series, and basically in today's video we're going to be finding out whether or not you should return to the same employer. So basically this video is geared towards persons who have been on work and travel before. They have gone to a state or gone to a company to work. The question is, should you go back and work for them again? So that's the topic for today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Check out the work and travel essentials Amazon list down below. Check out the work and travel series down below. Check out the work and travel vlogs down below. And without further ado, let's get into today's video. So basically, I personally have gone back to the same employer twice. So basically, the first time I went, the second time I went back to them. Basically, I personally have gone back to the same employer before. So basically, this is going to be based on my experience, which I'll be telling you in this video. I'm just going to be sharing with you guys some of the reasons why I went back to the same employer twice, what made me want to go back and work for them again, what could really propel me to go back to that state, go back to that town, go back to the workplace, what was so special about it. So basically that's what we're talking about in today's video. All right, so the first thing, so going back to the same employer, should you go back? My answer is yes and no. Yes and no, because this was exactly how I felt when I was deciding to go back to the same employer. It's like me, I say yes, me have all the reasons why I should go back, and then at the same time a part of me was like no. So guess what, go back if that job provided these things that I'll be talking about in this video. If they provided majority of these things, then I think you should go back. If you're planning on going on work and travel 3, 4, and 5, even 5 times, you can go back. Just go back 1 year. So to go 2 years out your work and travel basically experience, just to go 2 years, and basically you can go where you want to go for the rest. But basically these are some of the reasons why I went back. The first reason why I went back was because of the great management. Now the first time I went there, they had an amazing manager, Mike, when we go to America for the first time, I'm clueless and I know nothing. Mike welcomed us at the airport. He basically treated us like family. And I tell you, say it just shocking to me because we are literally strangers from our next country. And also there are so many stereotypes about black people and white people. So imagine this is a white man. And imagine this white man welcome me like him know me from a long time. So it's like with the kind of shock. Like me, I said, this white man just welcome me and it's like no discrimination, nothing. And I say, he was the manager, the general manager, as a matter of fact, right? And I was like, I couldn't believe. So anyways, Mike welcomed us and he's like, you know what, after the end of the summer, I was like, you know what, I feel like me go back to this employer because I'm going back to this place because the manager is great. He was just so supportive. Honestly, how I would describe it is basically he was like a father. He was that quote-unquote American father that we never had. So when I got here, him kind of, you know, him weird, him culture, he's very American. So imagine we are Jamaican and you understand, and him did the street was so good. So like that was the reason why I went back. There was great management. So the next factor you should take into consideration if you're deciding to go back is if they gave you a good salary. So guess what, if the money was good, go back. And especially if, because some work and travel students, if they go back to the employer, you get a raise. So me it's like me get a raise when I go back. Why am I not go back? So it's like these were some of the reasonings that I was going through at that time. Should I go back to this employer? Basically for the most part, J1s usually get about 25 cents increase on their pay. So basically about 25 cents increase, but that's still money because guess what, when you work the hours them, that 25 cents, it really adds up. So if basically you're going to be getting if you were getting a good salary already and then now you get an increase, why not go back? That's even more reason to say, okay, I'm gonna go back to this employer. If the manager is great, if the assistant manager is great, if your co-workers are great, go back. Why not? So the next point, which I already overlapped into, was basically if you had good co-workers. This can be both at the first and the second job, or maybe just at the first job, or maybe just at the second job, don't matter. But once one of your jobs, if you only work one job, then that's fine. If the co-workers were amazing, they treated you like family, you go out with them, go eat dinner, you go on movie, you go skating, you go all these things. If they were good, if the co-workers were great, go back. Literally, why not go back? Like, they are kind of like your little American family. Like, why not go back and see them again, right? So if you had good co-workers, why not go back? I think yeah, go back. So the next factor to take into consideration if you're considering going back to a particular employer and work and travel is if the location was amazing. If the location was like the bridge between the city and the countryside, and you know, it's okay, you don't want really in the city too much because it got more expensive, but you're right on the border, and you can go into the city quick and fast, then that's fine. And if you know so where you were had great amenities, like you said, oh my god, movies and this and that and lakes and whatever, depending on what state you went to. If the business had a great location and it had great amenities, go back, because you're gonna get to experience it all over again. And if the summer end and let's just say you had 10 things that you wanted to do and you only do 5, you can go back to do the other 5 the next summer, and you know, just get it all over with. But if it's a great location, if you had good amenities, if the co-workers are great, if the manager is great, if you get a salary increase, why not go back? But being sure, say, listen, before you leave, try, if you know you're gonna go back, try to negotiate the salary increase before you left. Like at the end of the summer, go to the manager and like, hey, if I come back next year, will I get a salary increase? Just bring it up to them. Yeah? Don't make it seem like say the only reason I go back because of money. Don't make it seem like that. But at the same time, you have interest. You talk about the money. Don't leave and just come back and work. You understand? You have to just put in a little word. No pressure them or nothing. Just say, oh, if I come back, will I get an increase? So at least them know, say, when I come back, them have to go. You understand? Because some employers are cheap. Let's just be honest. But yeah, you get a point. You get a point. So the next reason why you should go back is if you had basically cheap, or if you had cheap, or basically you had to pay nothing for housing. So for example, if the housing was like really cheap, like only $50 a week, or depending on where you go, and you're like or you had free housing. If the housing was free or the housing was cheap, go back, because me tell you, we go to some places and half your paycheck I got to take a pay rent for stay. I mean, it's like, what? Because I've seen job offers where they might pay you $500 for the week and they want $250 for pay rent. Something not right. That cannot right completely. So if you had free housing or if it was cheap housing, that's another reason why you should go back. Because I tell you, when you go to some states and you see some prices, and you go to some areas and you see some prices, you're gonna start wondering and say, no man, me that pay college, me that pay $100 there, so. And you so them want $300. They want half of your pay for the week for pay rent, and $369 to $1,200 for rent for the month. Like, come on, you know how much you lose right there. So especially if the salary level too high, and yet no, there's absolutely no way, in my opinion, that you should be making for example $500 a week and taking $250 paying rent. Absolutely no way. In my opinion, your rent should not be half the amount you're making per week. You have to be less than half, because something right. I don't know which financial school are that them maths, they're not mathing at all. Because let's just say you're working at one job, you take half of your pay rent. So when you buy food out it and whatever, because there is no guarantee that the area where you're going to have other jobs, so you get second job. So what if for the one job you work for the one summer and you take $250 out of the $500 every week I pay rent, and then you have to do this, and by the time you spend the next $100 or $150 I buy food and stuff for the month. Like, come on, the maths ain't maths at that time. So be very careful. But basically, if you had cheap housing or free housing, go back to that employer, because it's work and travel is very ghetto right now. So be very careful where you're going and the rates where some of these employers want to pay you, and the amount of rent for the place and where they want you to stay. Be very careful. So if you had cheap housing or free housing, go back to the employer. If basically they were great people, that's another reason why you should go back. Whether it be your co-workers or the people you meet overall in that town or city, they were just great people overall, you can go back, because you can say, hey, we know so many people, customers, all those things. If you know them and all that stuff, you can go back. It's as simple as that. Great people, why not go back? It's as simple as that. So another reason why you should go back is if that particular employer provided you with a lot of hours. That's another reason to go back. Because it's one thing to be getting a high salary but you're not getting hours. But imagine your salary are decent and you're getting hours. If that employer never yet cut, because that was one thing that I was impressed about when I got the first time. No matter what, I always work a full 40-hour week. Always, absolutely always a full 40-hour week, full time. Them never cut my hours in a day. Understand? Even a day. Every single week, my full 40 hours. Them never say, oh, you're 30 hours this week or 32 or 36. My full 40 hours. So I say, no man, at least my money guaranteed. You understand? So you need an employer where the interest, alright, you get a full 40 hours every week. So if them do that for you, go back there. Okay, we go some places and yes, you might be getting a higher wage, but you're not getting hours. So the math's not matter at all. But I did very impressed because the full 40 hours every single week, so never cut by an hour, 2 hours, nothing. So that if you're getting hours there, go back there. Go back there. So, and the last thing on this list, why you should go back is basically, yes, you have good co-workers, yes, you met great people, but what if you met more than just great people? You met friends. Like, you can actually genuinely call these people your friends, not just co-workers, more than that. So even your co-workers or the customers, all these people, that you can really call them your friends. That's another reason why you should go back. If you have friends, you know, say, okay, when you go back there, they can carry you out and, you know, can you go, I don't know, go do some foolishness, I don't know, go skating or something, and that's another reason you can go back. If you genuinely have some real friends who you make there, you can go back and go see them one more time or even 2 more times if you choose to go back to that employer more than 2, 3 times, whatever. But basically, these are just some things you need to consider when you're returning back to the same employer. I hope that this video helped. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, go ahead and comment them down below.